Do you ever want to become a bad filmmaker? Well, we all gotta scratch that itch sometimes. So that's why today I'm gonna show you 5 ways that could turn your good filmmaking into utter garbage. So let's get started, because the first point is you want to be Superman with your camera movements. Don't be one of those guys who just holds the camera and just stands there. You want to mix it up, because the more erratic your camera movements are, the better your shot's gonna be. For all the beginners out there, here are some of the movements I recommend you learning. The barrel roll, aggressive sidestepping, robot, creepy crawling. Trust me, these camera movements are gonna take you to the next level. On a serious note, I think a lot of beginner videographers make the mistake of not being intentional with their camera movements. And I don't blame them, because when you're a beginner, you see these awesome camera movements on YouTube and in movies, and you're trying to replicate them. And often they don't pull these camera movements off, and their shots will just end up looking erratic and unusable. So my greatest tips for beginner videographers is keep your movements simple. I think the best and the most basic movements is just standing still and just getting the shot. Because 5 to 6 years into our filmmaking journey, we're still using this still shot in a lot of situations. Another simple movements you could do, especially when capturing details, put your camera near your hip and go from left to right. You're basically leaning from one leg to the other. So you're kind of rotating your body from left to right. Remember, when you're doing handheld camera movements, don't move your arms, just your body. Number 2, you want to make your videos engaging. You want to make it pop. And let me tell you, there's no better way doing that than having as many fancy and explosive transitions in your videos. I'm talking about explosions. I'm talking about those transitions that give seizures. Put in as many as you can, because that's how you're gonna make your video a cinematic masterpiece. For this wedding film, the bride wanted something romantic and cheesy. Nah, I ain't stooping to that level. I'm a filmmaker. Let's put in this fancy transition. How about that? Boom! Seriously, I see too many people using fancy transitions that does not make sense at all. When you use a transition, it has to be intentional. It has to add value to your video. If you're a beginner, I don't recommend you focusing on transitions at all, because the most important thing to focus on is storytelling. How to evoke emotions through your music and your shots. That's what's gonna make your content amazing. Point number 3, to make cinematic videos, you need to be using the correct focal length. And the one and only correct focal length is the wide. You're doing an interview, use a wide focal length. You're capturing your pets at home, use a wide focal length. You're trying to capture some small details, use a wide focal length. I guarantee you, this works for every single thing. Using a wide focal length to shoot everything is definitely one of the worst mistakes you can make as a beginner videographer. Because you see, every focal length from wide to medium to telephoto has a purpose to them. For example, I would only use a wide focal length if I'm doing real estate or if I'm trying to establish a scene. And I would only use a telephoto focal length if I want to shoot something that's really far away. Say for example, if I'm shooting a wedding, I'll be using a telephoto lens to shoot the speeches. To get the most cinematic shots, I recommend that beginners get a lens that can shoot the medium focal length. Anywhere between 35mm to 55mm is a good place to start. And the reason why the medium focal length is the most cinematic, it's because they have the most similar focal length to our eyes. So that's why when you see shots shot with the medium focal length, you're gonna feel like it's a more natural and pleasing shot. Point number 4. You ever heard about camera angles and composition? Well, don't worry about it. Just be creative. Let your juices flow. If you're filming an interview, why not just go from above? You know what? Mix up your composition a little bit. Cut off some of the head. Because things like rule of thirds, grid lines, head space, and negative spaces, don't let those things hold you back. I truly think learning about compositions is one of the best things that you could do as a beginner filmmaker. Learn how to use grid lines. You can turn them on in your camera menus, and they're gonna drastically improve the compositions of your shot. The basic principle is you want to put your subject either in the middle of the 2 vertical lines or on one of the vertical lines. And if you're doing interviews or if you're filming people interacting with each other, you want to put them on the intersection between the vertical line and the horizontal line. That way, you're ensuring that there's enough headspace between the subject in your shot and the top of the frame. And the second thing is you want to be intentional with your camera angles. Each camera angle evokes a different feeling within your audience. If you're doing a low camera angle, it's going to make your subject look powerful. If you're going for a high camera angle, it's going to make your subject look submissive and weak. If you're going for an eye-level camera angle, it's not going to evoke any feeling because it's neutral. And point number 5, don't forget to color grade your footage as much as possible. Because if you don't make your colors pop, your video is going to be boring, bro. My biggest tip is to buy all the LUTs that you can find on the internet. Peter McCann LUTs, put them on. Look at that, that looks amazing already. There's no need to touch it at all. If all else fails, put on a black and white LUT, because they can't critique your colors if there's no colors in your videos. Yes, it's possible to overcolor grade. I've seen so many people done it, including me myself. When I was starting out, I was very passionate about making my colors pop. But there were a lot of times where I was just overgrading it without learning the proper color theory or learning the basics of color grading. And in the end, it didn't really improve the videos. In fact, it probably made the videos look worse. So my biggest tip is to keep your color grading simple. Focus more on getting the exposure right and your white balance. Once you get those right, then you move slowly into color grading. You know how we went from complete beginners to building a 6-figure production business? Well, our journey wasn't easy and we often didn't know what the next step was. You're passionate about making videos, but you have no idea what you could do to take your videography to the next level. That's why we created the 6-figure filmmaker starter kit. It contains a clear roadmap of how we started all the way to the point where we built a 6-figure videography business. In this kit, you'll find email templates, sales proposals, production templates, and more. And for those of you who are serious about turning videography into a successful business, well, we offer personalized one-on-one coaching, where we'll provide hours of personalized guidance and advice so that you can reach your goals faster. And if you didn't find this video helpful or useful at all, like the video and give us a subscribe. We post videos about filmmaking and self-development every week so that you can take your life to the next level. Anyways, stay focused.